Hi, Ryan. Thanks for getting this in. Yeah, it looks like, I was going through your contact sheets, and it looks to me like, for the most part, you're getting the same readings overall. So I'm assuming that this one must be incident, because you said incident ended up being a little bit darker, and then this one must be reflective, and then it should run that way all the way down. So all the images on the left are incident, all the images on the right are reflective. I think that I'm just going to go ahead and assume that. So normally we would, listen to me, normally we would expect the incident readings to give you a better exposure, and the reflective readings to frequently be either vastly under or overexposed. Of course, you probably already figured out that this is because in reflective mode, your meter should be giving you readings that will yield a medium gray value out of whatever bit of subject matter you have it pointed at. Now, part of why this is probably working out better for you is because you have your meter typically pointed at live, like living green foliage of the deciduous variety. And it happens to be the fact that living green foliage of the deciduous variety reflects light vastly outside of the dynamic range that the human's eye can see. It reflects quite a bit of infrared and ultraviolet light. So it ends up actually being of medium gray value to the camera, whereas it looks darker than that to us. To the camera, it's medium gray value. And that is why most of your reflective readings are coming out so well. And I don't know why the incident ones are so dark, other than maybe you are holding the meter. There's two things that can be going on here. Is you might have the meter facing the light source, whereas you're shooting into the shade. So you would get discrepant readings, because if you should be reading the incident light in the same quality as all your subject matter, and all your subject matter is the light source. Like, I know it's overcast and crazy out, but the light source is brighter from behind the subjects than it is on the side that you're shooting. So you would have needed to meter the shade to get an accurate reading. Or the other thing that could be happening is your lumisphere isn't quite in the right place. But yeah, so many of them are just basically identical too, so. Hard for me to say, But again, like I said, you just happen to be pointing your meter at living green deciduous foliage in almost every case, and so it is medium gray, so your reflective readings should be perfect. Your finals are lovely. These close-ups are very elegant. This one is of the broad landscape. This composition is just beautiful, with this leading line of the creek going back through this arc of trees. Just gorgeous. And again, here, very elegant, beautiful depth of field for this shot. I'm a sucker for close-ups, though, but man, these are just great. Fantastic depths of field, lots of detail, perfect fine focus. Really nice. Really, really nice. So, if you're inclined, get back in here and give me more specific information about how you're metering. If you have any questions, you might have figured it out by now, because like you said, this is the first time you're using your meter, and you've only owned it for an hour. Well, you've owned it longer, but you've only had it in your hands for an hour. So, your experience, excuse me. Hi, Ryan. I don't know where I was, so I'm going to stop the video now. I'm so sorry. But this looks fine. Everything looks fine. If I remember what I was saying correctly is, I'm not positive why your readings are so almost identical throughout reflective and incident, but it probably has a little bit to do with either what position the lumisphere was in incident mode, or what quality of light you were standing in incident reading. Also, for incident reading, if you're shooting outside the landscape like this, best case scenario, you take an incident meter reading in the shade and an incident meter reading in more direct light. And then you for an exposure, you choose an average of the two exposure values, and then you're not prioritizing just the things that are lit and the things that aren't lit. You're actually making a compromise between the two. I hope that makes sense. But your images are beautiful. Your compositions are gorgeous. Your PDFs look great. They're really high resolution, which I love. Always turn them in like this. Thank you. In the future, I didn't ask for it this time, but in the future, always label your contact sheets with the exposure settings. Just because, in the event that something's really wonky, I can help you with it. But if I don't have the exposure settings, I can't. I didn't ask for it this time because it's just so much for people to get out and use the light meter for the first time, so I don't like to be too picky. But these look great. Okay, thanks so much, Ryan.